Yeah, so today's topic is micro propagation. Micro means very small size, in the size very small. Propagation, you know, to multiply. So micro propagation is a multiplication of any living tissue. Preferably it is only plants can be multiplied using micro propagation because of the totipotency that they possess. So totipotency, you already have heard this term. It is every plant cell can regenerate itself, can multiply itself into the whole plant. So each cell of a plant has the potency to multiply itself, to regenerate, to undergo morphogenesis, to undergo organogenesis, and bring out the whole plant. So that this totipotency is the reason for micropropagation. So what does this micropropagation do? The method of propagating plants. Micropropagation is a method of propagating plants to get new plants from a very small bit of the plant itself. That is very simply putting the definition for micropropagation. So what does it give you? It gives you a clone. Clone is a plant population derived from a single individual by asexual reproduction. So it can be a vegetative kind of reproduction also. So vegetative reproduction is also called asexual reproduction, actually, because there is no sex gametes getting involved in it. So clonal propagation is another name for micropropagation. So it is a multiplication of, one more thing is, most of the micropropagated plants will be genetically identical to the host plant. So clonal propagation is the multiplication of genetically identical individuals by asexual reproduction. These are different terms. Clonal propagation, micropropagation are different terms which mean the same thing in plants. So before going into the micropropagation technique and the uses of it, we must know what is an explant. Explant is an excised piece of tissue or organ taken from the plant so that you start the micropropagation process. So for starting a micropropagation process, you need, the first thing you need is an explant. It's a bit of the plant part. It can be a stem, it can be a shoot, meristem, or a tip, or a bud, or a leaf. It can be a node or an internode, can be axillary bud, terminal bud, root, anther, microspore, ovule, nucellus. Okay, so every part of the plant which has a meristematic tissue can be used as an explant. A meristematic tissue is more preferred because it gives quicker results. So every part of the plant which possesses meristematic tissue is preferred choice as an explant, but even otherwise other parts can also be used as a explant. So basically explant is any excised tissue. Excised meaning cut. Any bit of a tissue of a plant can be used as a initiation culture for micropropagation. So this is some of the pictures which you can see: meristem tip, shoot tip. And okay, shoot tip, you can, it will look like this under the microscope. You can't see it here, but normally a shoot tip looks like this. So you can use seeds as explant, you can use leaf as explant, buds as explant, you can use pollen as an explant. Okay, so anthers can be used, pollen can be used, nucellus, ovule, endosperm is also being used as a explant. So micropropagation is a rapid clonal in vitro propagation. In vitro means inside the glass, actually inside the glass, in vitro. So in a laboratory condition, artificially propagated plants from cells. You can use single cells to propagate. You can use tissues. You can use an organ to propagate, like endosperm, nucellus. Cultured aseptically. This is very, very important. On defined media. This is another important requirement, because you can't use any complex media. You need to use defined media because you are controlling the growth, you are controlling the organogenesis, you are controlling when the root should come, when the shoots should come out. Okay, all these things are controlled. You are providing the media for the development of organs or embryos. So added to that, you have a conditioned environment, like the temperature is controlled, the light is controlled, the humidity is controlled, the air exchange of air phases are controlled, the microorganisms are controlled, they are not allowed to enter inside. So for that you need a defined media for the cultures to grow, contained in a culture vessels, maintained under controlled conditions of light and temperature. So this is called micropropagation. So mostly it is genetically identical copies by asexual reproduction. You call it clonal propagation also. Normally, this is not a new thing. It occurs in nature. We have a terminology called apomixis, where seed development without meiosis and fertilization has been happening. And but we have used the natural process to our advantage to create more plants. So vegetative propagation is also is a natural process, regeneration of new plants from vegetative parts. By bryophyllum, you just take a cut piece of leaf and put it in the soil. After a week or so, you can see rootlets coming out from the leaf. So it happens in nature. So aseptic method, but only thing is when you do it in a controlled environment, when you want the desired results in a quicker time, you need to provide the environment which is required. So aseptic method of clonal propagation is called micropropagation. So micropropagation has been happening in nature also. Okay, but we are giving it a term because it has to be cultivated in the laboratory condition using predetermined conditions, environmental conditions. And it offers the advantage of large number of true to type plantlets. True to type plantlets meaning the plantlets which you suppose you get 1,000 plantlets, all the 1,000 are genetically identical to the parent or the host plant from which you have taken the explant. So true to type plantlets can be produced with relatively short time by a single plant. From a single plant, you can produce more than thousands of plantlets. So that is the commercially viable method of clonal propagation of most of the horticultural crops. So most of the crops which are threatened, which are in high demand because of drugs or because pharmaceutical importance or aesthetic importance, beautifying importance, or the flavor or any kind of industrial importance, you need to propagate yeah, in a shorter time. You need to get a large number of plantlets for reforestation, afforestation, to grow forest. So whatever it is, clonal propagation or micropropagation is the only choice available. So why do micropropagation? The other two slides will be describing why, what is the importance. So I have already told you all these things, several thousand plants. So it can give a continuous supply of young plants throughout the year. That is, it is not seasonal. Some of the plants will flower only in a season, but here it is not like that. You can give the plants anytime when it is required, irrespective of the season. So it doesn't destroy the mother plant. So, when you pluck a plant from a forest area or from a reserve forest, it might be an endangered plant. So it is against the law. But in that case, if you take an explant, if you just take a leaf from that plant, it is not going to harm the plant. But from that leaf, you can produce thousands of such plants. So that does not destroy the mother plant. So rare and endangered plants can be saved. And clones through micropropagation are true to type, as I've already told you. Now, fast selection for crop improvement. You can use these explants from superior plants which are having good characters, like ripe, extra tasty fruit, or a larger fruit, or is there some good characters for any plant. You can combine them and you can clone them. So why you have to clone them? Because you don't have the fear that this might not, the character will not be lost. Because natural sexual reproduction, there is all possibility that the character can be lost due to mutation, due to transformation, transposons in participating, jumping genes. Due to transposons, due to mutation, the good character may be lost. But when you go for cloning, clonal propagation, you are actually enhancing the good quality characters. You are not there will be no, I mean, loss of the characters. So you can use such superior plants and you can clone them. Then tissue banks are produced due to micropropagation. Now, every plant, endangered plant, next plant or a callus culture is deposited in tissue banks. Whenever required, you can uh, pay a price and collect the tissue, and you can propagate it whenever required. So this is possible. Another very important advantage or application is disease and virus free plants. It is very difficult to control the virus spread in a plant in natural environment, but you can have a diseased free plantlet maintained in laboratory condition, in aseptic condition. So the farmers or whoever it is interested in growing the plant can collect the disease free, because otherwise we don't have any way to know whether the plant is disease free or not. But when you collect a callus bit or an explant bit from the plant tissue culture banks, it is sure that they are free from viruses. So greater credibility in the international market, because these clonal propagated plants are mostly aseptic. They are totally disease free. So when you want to industrially produce certain secondary metabolites or pharmaceuticals from such plants, it has a very good value in the international market, because since the plantlets are disease free, they can be cultured as liquid culture medium itself. You don't need to regenerate the whole plant and then collect the drug from it. You can, the plant can continuously produce the secondary metabolite. When you make some changes in the medium itself, you can make the plant or the cells or the tissues in liquid culture to produce the drug. So, but in callus, I mean, such callus which are disease free will give best drug combination. So they say greater credibility in international market as plantlets are produced through micropropagation. So phytosanitary சொல்வாங்க இத. These are some of the culture types. You have callus culture, suspension culture, pollen culture, ovule culture, root tip, shoot tip. Protoplast culture is very common. Leaf primordial culture, that is leaf tip. Then flower culture. Apart from this, you have many more not given in this slide. So success of micropropagation is due to separating different developmental aspects of culture into stages. So that is what is given here. A shoot tip development or a bud development or an internode or a nodal development, each have different phases of development. Naturally, if you see, a shoot tip development is different. There are different hormones that are responsible for development of shoot. There are different hormones that are responsible for development of a bud. So this is developmental aspects of culture is taken care of. So when you use a shoot tip as an explant, the media will be slightly different. But when you use a bud for developing callus, or when you use a shoot tip for developing callus, when you use a leaf explant to develop a callus, the basic media will be the same. You use MS media or BFI medium or any other medium to develop a callus, and then it goes on to, because it is all well they have researched it and found out that this is what is needed for development of shoot, this is needed for development of root, this is needed for development of the whole organ, this medium is needed for development of embryo. So it is already done, research has been already done, and it is already fixed. So it is very easy. So either you collect a node, you collect a shoot tip, you collect a root tip, you collect a flower, you connect a bud, you can use everything the same uniform way of processing. There is no difference. So in nature, there may be developmental differences, but when you come to micropropagation, all these developmental differences are not there. You provide a uniform medium for any explant you take. So there are four distinct, only thing is you have to take care of the environmental. The environment is very, very important. You can research and you can manipulate the media, and it according to your wish, whatever you require, you have to put it in the medium. Whatever is your requirement, you have to put it in the medium, and your maintenance of the temperature, light, and humidity. That will take care of all your result. What result you are expecting depends on the media media components and the environmental control. So they have seen 4 distinct stages: establishment, initiation, அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. Establishment or initiation, multiplication is the next stage, root formation is the next stage, and acclimatization. Acclimatization, adjustment, adjusting to the environment. How much you can give the plant, provide the plant some characters by which it can adjust, because from the it cannot keep on growing in the glass test tube. It has to at a certain point you have to transfer it to the field. So in that case it has to get acclimatized. இப்போ நம்ம திடீர்னு போய் யூஎஸ்ஏல கேனடால போய் போட்டோம்னா it will take some time for us to acclimatize to the cold condition there. By 1 month ஆகலாம், 2 months ஆகலாம். So that is called acclimatization, adjustment to the environmental condition. So this is a very important stage, because if this stage fails, your whole idea of micropropagation is not going to be of any use, because all the process what you're doing in micropropagation has to result in the plant growing in the field. Otherwise, there's no point. So in this case, in the 4 stages, all the stages are important. The most important is acclimatization. So establishment of the callus culture, multiplication, root formation, and acclimatization, where you carry the plant from the glass to the field. That is what is given here. Selection, first stage 0 vandirukku. That is before stage 1. You need a selection and preparation of the mother plant. So sterilization, all the pre-processing you have to do in stage 0. Stage 1, initiation, that is the what is called establishment. Explant placed into growth media. Stage 2 is multiplication. Explant transferred to shoot media, and shoot can be multiplied. So you get a lot of shoots, what you see here in this slide. Lot of shoots. So that is called multiplication. And stage 3 is rooting, transfer to rooting media. Here you can see the media is differing in its composition. And stage 4, transfer to the soil. It is also called hardening. So this is a cycle which represents parent, initiation, multiplication, shooting, and rooting. Primary hardening, which you do it in the laboratory itself, but you grow it in small plastic cups, very, very small plastic cups, giving the environmental condition, providing the environmental condition to acclimatize it to grow in soil. And then you go in for secondary hardening in a next range of size of flower pots, and then into the field. This is the cycle of micropropagation. So when you see establishment, here it is very important that you collect the plant, collect the explant from a very good plant. That is, it includes explant source collection, selection, explant disinfestation means surface sterilization. Disinfestation. Infesting means contamination. Disinfestation, na decontaminating. Okay, and then culture medium and stabilization. So establishment or initiation of the culture for micropropagation involves these 4 stages: explant source selection, explant disinfestation, culture medium, stabilization. Now this is source selection, the first one. Here the selection is very important because you need to know the genetic aspect of the plant. It should be genetically stable. Adikadi mutate aitrunda, such plants will not be a good source for explant. Okay, so genetically stable are, so for generations the plant should have given almost unchanged characters. So for generation after generation it should have maintained its stability. So மாமரம் இருக்கு அப்படின்னா ஒரு சீசன்ல சின்ன பழம் சைஸு, ஒரு சீசன்ல பெரிய பழம் சைஸு, ஒரு சீசன்ல டேஸ்ட் டிஃப்ரெண்டா இருக்கு, ஒரு சீசன்ல டேஸ்ட் நல்லா இருக்கு. That means it is genetically unstable. Such plant you cannot use explants from such plant. So it should have stable genetic, and it should not, it should, and what do you mean by epigenetics? Epigenetic means, this is, I will tell you about epigenetics. Juvenile characteristic. Epigenetic means environment plays a major role on the expression of the genes. You all have studied in UG how the gene expresses, how a lac operon is expressed. So epigenetic means something other than genes.
An environmental factor can change the way a gene expresses. So you have to take that also into account. So for example, the same variety of mango in Andhra, it will give a different taste. The same variety, if you grow it in Chennai, it will give a different taste. This is due to epigenetic factors. Suppose you have collected an explant from a stable mango plant, your one person is growing it, hardening it, acclimatizing it to Andhra soil, one person is acclimatizing it to Chennai soil, you will see both the mangoes will taste different, will look different. This is because of epigenetic characteristic. The climatic conditions, the environmental factors, the humidity or whatever, definitely uh, gives some change to the expression of the genes. So what can you do? You cannot do anything to that, because everywhere you will have this epigenetic characters, but it may not be passed on to the next generation. Always only the genetic characters will be passed on to the next generation. Maybe the epigenetic characters will not be passed on to the next generation. So trial and error தான் இருக்குதுல normally. So you have explant source selection, you have to take care of these characters, genetic and epigenetic characters, control of pathogens, and physiological conditioning of the plant. So how best you can see the plant which requires least, which is naturally adjusting to any kind of environment, is the best plant. Okay, some plants like orchids, it is very difficult to condition, because orchids require this much of temperature, it requires so much of humidity. So growing an orchid, micropropagating an orchid is slightly difficult than micropropagating a banana plant, because bananas grow everywhere. Whatever condition you give, it will grow in Kerala also, it will grow in Tamil Nadu, it will grow in any kind of climate. So in such cases, you have to choose. Physiological conditioning is also important. So some plants grow well in any season. Some plants grow well only in hilltops. Some plants will grow well only in desert. So in that case, physiological conditioning is also important. So when we are talking about the genetic and epigenetic characteristic, various types of genetic changes, you have a polyploidy, multiple, number of copies, increased number of copies. You have aneuploidy, decreased number of copies. Okay, mutations are there, insertions are there. All these genetic changes will be there in the plant. So we have to see what kind of plant, what kind of genetic instabilities are there, variations are there. You have to choose the explant in such a way. Epigenetic changes are thought to underlie various well-known tissue culture phenomena, including rejuvenation, habituation, hardening, morphological changes, அதான் நான் சொன்னேன், flower abnormalities, bushiness, tumorous outgrowths, இதெல்லாம் வரலாம். It can happen. ஒரு பிளான்ட்டோடைய physiological condition மாறும்போது you can expect some sudden changes. They are called epigenetic changes. They are thought to occur when the DNA is methylated, when methyl groups are added to the DNA, when histone proteins are methylated. These epigenetic changes are caused by changes in the expression of the genes. Okay, alteration of the DNA. It can happen to anybody. Even human beings are undergoing epigenetic changes. So these changes are naturally happening. But it only thing is, you have to, they are temporary. Plants may revert to the normal phenotype easily, but some may be long lasting. Some epigenetic changes are long lasting. So we have to get complete information about the explant. Everything will be actually in the tissue banks la வந்து எல்லாத்த பத்தியும் information இருக்கும். Genetic characters, epigenetic characters, அது பத்திய information எல்லாமே it will be there in the tissue bank. So when you collect an explant, it has to be with the, when you select a source, you have to know everything about the source. So that what you have to see is the genetic and the epigenetic changes. You have to know about that. Then physiological condition, growing plants in containers in greenhouse with environmental controls is you have to take into account the outer environment also when you are preparing the environment in the lab. இப்போ வெளியில நீங்க ஹார்டனிங் ஆன அப்புறம் அந்த பிளான்ட்டை எங்க கொடுக்க போறீங்க? வேர் ஆர் யூ கோயிங் டு அந்த பர்டிகுலர் சாயில், அந்த பர்டிகுலர் என்வாயன்மெண்ட் எப்படி இருக்கு, அதை வந்து ஓரளவுக்கு நம்ம லேப்லயே வி ஹாவ் டு ஸ்டார்ட் கிவிங் so that from the time of culturing itself, it is getting adjusted to the environment. Harsha kudukka kudadu, odane kudukka kudadu. Velila 37 degrees na, you cannot get a callus in the 37 degrees. Slower, you have to increase the temperature when it is growing in the lab itself. So physiological condition pananu, you have to condition the culture for the outside environmental conditions very slowly. So you have to produce healthy plants. Main thing is you treat with different growth regulators. Natural irkumbodhu you may not get the growth regulators. Sometimes the plant will get, sometimes the plant will not get. But when you're growing it in the lab, you make sure that you have to make sure that you are giving the growth regulators at the appropriate concentration. Only then it will grow. So next step is disinfestation. So you have to use surface sterilization. This is called surface sterilization. You either use alcohol, you use ethyl methyl, 80% isopropyl, bleach. You can use sodium hypochlorite, 5.25 to 6%. Bleach is diluted before using. Otherwise, it will kill the cells. So it will penetrate and kill the cells. So it is only for surface coverage. So time dosage is very important. How much time you dip it in the bleach, what is the dosage? Because if you increase the time or the concentration, it is going to affect the healthy cells. So additional methods are hydrogen peroxide. You can use silver nitrate. Silver nitrate is very costly, so nobody uses that. Mercury chloride, because mercury chloride is very cheap, but it is very difficult because you have to properly dispose it. You can't just throw the mercury chloride outside. It has to be properly disposed. So it is actually banned now. You can't use mercury chloride. When you have other ethyl alcohol, normally that is only taken. Or sodium hypochlorite, best, cheap and best. So it has to, the tissues have to be cut into short pieces and then washed in tap water with the detergent. And then you have for every kind of explant, you have a separate method of disinfestation that you have to follow. So 5 to 15 minutes you have to keep. So 5 hour clump it, when the tissue is very, very soft, you have to keep it only for a shorter period. If the tissue is very hard, you can increase the time. So everything depends on what kind of explant you use. Solution is then poured off, material rinsed. You have to rinse it many times with sterile water. That is also important. So in this case, you have to modify the procedure. This is a basic procedure, but you have to modify the procedure based on what kind of explant you are choosing, what is the condition of the growth. So all these things you have to use pre-washing, or maybe you have to wash it for a more number of times. Mechanical agitation, you have to give agitation to some tissues. So on the madri, you have more than one kind of disinfestation method you have to use. So all the basic procedure, sometimes you might have to change the procedure also. So this is the next is the culture medium. After disinfestation, you have to use the culture medium. Is normally when you want initiation of culture, callus initiation or establishment phase la vandu basic media da they will use, because this is only this will not have higher amount of hormones. It will have only the trace elements, the micronutrients and the macronutrients, the vitamins, all these things only will be there, because this is only the first stage. So it will not have higher amount of hormones. Stabilization, the callus has to be stabilized. Okay, so before the stage 2, this is the end part of stage 1. This is the final part of stage 1, that is establishment, final part of initiation or establishment. So initially it will grow. Initial phase is elongation phase. Initial phase is the cells, all the cells will be elongated, and main terminal shoot with limited proliferation of axillary shoot. And then when the explant is successfully established, you can see several micro shoots. Very, very small shootlets will be formed depending upon the apical dominance. Apical dominance means if the shoot tip is cut off, lateral branches will start emerging. You can do this and see that is apical dominance is there. Till the shoot tip is there on the plant, the lateral branches will not come out. So when you cut it, that is what is called apical dominance. So it will keep growing longitudinally till tip is cut. So that has some dominance to the physiology of the plant. So when you cut the shoot tip, it will grow, give many lateral branches. That is why you say micro shoots. That is what you call micro shoots. So establishment and stabilized cultures are ready for subculturing and can be moved along to stage 2 of micro propagation. So you have to repeatedly subculture it, because nutrient level will keep going down, because the culture callus is absorbing the nutrients. So subculturing is very, very important. That means transferring the growth to a new medium. It is only called subculturing. So we have to go into the stage 2 of micropropagation, which is the multiplication of the shoots. So you have already got micro shoots, you need to multiply them. The purpose of stage 2 is to maintain the culture in a stabilized state. Multiply the microshoots to the number required for rooting. So you need 100 microshoots. You have to provide the medium for that. You have to provide the conditions for that. So basic medium is similar to stage 1. Okay, one or more subcultures, because you need only the shoots. You need more microshoots. So stage 1 layer, you have got microshoots. Stage 2 is multiplying them. So you need to get more of microshoots. So the basic medium will not change, it will be the same. So you have to keep on subculturing between each stage. So in this case, sometimes you need to provide growth regulators to maximize the shoot production. So cytokinin and auxins are the only two growth regulators used in plant tissue culture on a larger scale, because it is used to support a basic level of growth. It is very important to direct the developmental process. So you need a shoot, you need a root, you need to adjust the cytokinin auxin ratio. Idu rendu adjust pannada rooting will come out. Okay, so shoot initiation is strongly supported by cytokinin concentration. So if you increase the minimum concentration stimulates lateral shoot initiation. So cytokinin should be higher when you require shoot multiplication. So in the medium, auxin cytokinin ratio is very important. When you need shoot initiation, more of shoots to be formed, you need to keep the cytokinin ratio a slightly increased level. So increased cytokinin levels may promote additional shoot proliferation, but proliferation will be there, but it will not have elongation. You will not get shoot elongation, but you will get shoot proliferation. That means too many shootlets will come out. Multiplication stage. That is why it is called multiplication stage. You will get too many shoots. Okay, so here requirements may vary at different stages of culture. Say I'm stopping this, you please rejoin. Okay, the Zoom is closing now.